Hi, my name is Zach Judson, and I'm doing my commemorative speech on my grandpa. Um, so my grandpa was born on December 7th, 1936, and his name was Rexford Michael Judson. um, but I called him Bobby. Um, Ever since I was born, we had a connection because I'm actually named after him. My name is Zachary Rexford Michael Judson, and so we've always been connected that way. Um, when I was younger, I used to go to his house every day in the summer, and his house was really cool. He had a pool, a trampoline, Xbox 360, so everything that a little kid could dream of when they were growing up at their grandparents' house. um, some of the days during the week, I would go with him to his part-time job at Elm Chevrolet, and basically what would he do is he'd go to the bank for them and get their mail and stuff like that, and then after we would go to this place called M&M Hots, and we'd get each a couple of hot dogs and some chocolate milk. And that was just like a really great memory that I have of him because it was just so much fun going with him all the time. Um, he was probably the most supportive person that I've ever known, just like from a personal standpoint, because he never missed one Little League game, never missed a modified game. He was always at a big event that I had, like a sports banquet, things like that. Um, and honestly, I was just able to talk to him about everything. Like there was not one thing that I couldn't talk to him about, and it was really always nice to have that in my him in my corner because there's just some people that you can tell things, and he was one of those people. um, Unfortunately, um, he passed away on April 8th, 2015. After a long battle in the hospital, and it's kind of a weird story. I'll get into it a little bit. But so one day he came, took us to school, me and my little sister, and he wasn't feeling that great. He had like his stomach was upset and things like that, and so he went to the doctors after after he dropped us off that day, and he ended up actually going to the emergency room because they found out there was something wrong going on in his stomach area, but they didn't know what. So after he got to the hospital, they did some more tests, and they actually found out that um, the blood supply to his small intestine was cut off, and it was kind of deteriorating, which is kind of um, like weird, like gross, kind of to think about, because like his small intestine is basically falling apart, and so they had to do a couple surgeries to try to get that back together, try to get the blood supply back to his small intestine. And so they eventually did that. And they got it back to where it was supposed to be. And so he was good for a couple of days. He had a ventilator in because it was hard for him to breathe on his own because he had other underlying medical issues. And so a couple of days went by. He started to get better. They took the ventilator out. He was able to start talking to us again. And we all thought that he was gonna get through it and get back to where he was before the surgery and everything that happened. Um, but sadly, that wasn't the case, and his small intestine started to um, fall apart again because the blood supply wasn't good enough. And so they went in back for more surgeries, and um, they had to stop mid surgery because if they kept going, they would have realized that he would have had under the amount of small intestine that you're supposed to have in your body to survive. So they had to take him out of surgery and leave him open, his stomach open, because they had to try to figure out a different way to solve the issue. And So, I mean, I was pretty young, so I don't really remember what the solution was, but they went back in and tried to do it. And after the surgery, he had to go back on the ventilator and stuff like that. Um, and then one day, um, after I left the hospital, it was probably like 6 o'clock when I left. Um, my grandma had a talk with him that night. He couldn't talk or anything like that because he had the ventilator in and he was sleeping and stuff like that. And so my grandma told him that basically he's fought enough and he doesn't need to fight anymore, and that it's okay if he lets go because everybody knows how much he's fought to um, to try to get back and stuff like that. And the next morning on April 8th, he passed away in the hospital bed. And I found out after my modified baseball practice. My parents told me that he passed away. And so it was really hard because I was only 12 or 13. So it was like hard for me to process. He was like the first family member that I really lost. And um, so I was basically confused, like, why did this happen? Like, things like that. Um, and something that was really cool was at his calling hours, my whole modified team came dressed up with their jerseys on and um, came to see me at his calling hours, which is always going to be a memory that I have until the day I die because it was just so meaningful that they would come and support me in that way, even though they didn't necessarily know my grandpa or weren't necessarily the closest friend with me. But it was just really nice to see everybody there supporting me and my family, of course. Um, so when I turned 18, I was like, all right, I want to do something to honor him and everything that he's done for me. So when I turned 18, I got a tattoo on my left bicep to honor him. And basically, it just says Boppy across the center of my bicep. And then above it, it says the date that he was born, which was December 7th, 1936. And then under Boppy, it says the day that he passed away, which was April 8th, 2015. And I still think about him every single day. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him and the memories that I made with him. And I do everything today to make sure that he's proud of me and the things that I'm doing. Um, so yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. Um, bye.